Welcome back to my channel. Today's question is, why do sheep follow each other? There are many sayings in different languages that refer to one person following like a sheep follows its leader. In English, we say blindly following the crowd. These sayings imply that people who follow the crowd lack originality and can't think for themselves. But have you ever stopped to wonder why sheep follow their leaders so blindly? In this video, we're going to find out why. When it comes to surviving in the wild, being part of a herd offers some pretty obvious advantages. There's safety in numbers, after all. It's hard for a lone sheep to defend itself against a pack of wolves, but much easier if that sheep is with its woolly friends. The odds of survival increase with each additional sheep in the group, so young lambs instinctively seek out the nearest flock. After all, their survival may depend on it. Adult sheep tend to stick close to their mothers until they're about 6 months old. At that point, they've learned all the skills they need from mama, like where to find food and how to avoid predators. They're also less vulnerable to the elements than an adult sheep because, like most mammals, they are born with a thick coat of downy body hair that keeps them warm until their wool starts growing in. So at 6 months old, they're basically little experts at surviving in the wild. But even so, they still prefer to hang out with the herd instead of striking out on their own. That preference has a lot to do with food. Wild sheep live on the edge of their habitat. That means there isn't always a steady supply of food and water available. Lone sheep has to spend a lot of time searching for sustenance. Time that would be better spent keeping an eye out for predators or finding a mate. Spending time alone also increases a sheep's risk of being attacked by a predator. Even an experienced adult sheep is no match for a hungry wolf or a bear with cubs to feed. But what about those times when the sheep's survival isn't directly threatened? It's like when the weather is good and there's plenty of food to eat. Why don't they just go off on their own and enjoy the peace and quiet? It turns out that even when the risks of staying in the herd aren't so high, the benefits of doing so are even greater. In 1998, researchers at the University of Wales, Bangor decided to put a bunch of sheep in a rather unusual situation. They put 2 groups of 6 sheep into separate pens, and then offered them both food in the form of a tasty vegetable oil called rapeseed. One group had to work together to get their treat, while the other got to enjoy their meal right away. Unsurprisingly, the sheep that had to cooperate in order to receive their food quickly figured out that working together paid off. They started passing the food around so that everyone could eat at the same time. Once they started sharing their food, they preferred to stay in a group. Even when researchers moved the sheep into larger pens, the sheep stayed together instead of wandering off on their own. It turns out that spending time with other sheep makes them happier, healthier animals, which might explain why they stick together even when there's no immediate threat to their survival. In the wild, sheep will often huddle together for warmth, and having company helps reduce stress, especially in lambs. Lambs that are separated from their mothers for even just an hour display higher levels of stress afterward. They remain stressed until they're reunited with the flock. Being in a group also provides comfort in more stressful situations, like when they're being herded. Stunned and scared, they rely on their flock mates for support. If one sheep stops moving, another one will come to help. They also cry out more when they're separated from the herd, so we know that sheep prefer to be in a group, because it helps keep them safe, fed, and calm. Have you ever wondered how they choose a leader? Young male sheep, called rams, typically take over as the flock's leader when they're about a year old. This new ram will usually challenge the previous leader, a role typically held by the previous year's top ram, and fight him to assert his dominance. Once he wins the fight, the flock readily accepts him as their new leader. Rams will often butt heads with each other as a way of establishing dominance. And sometimes they'll even fight to the death over who gets to lead the flock. Now you know. Hit the like button if you learned something new today, and share this video with your woolly friends. Subscribe to my channel for more nature facts every day.